Okay, so I'm going to use this week's Torah reading to talk about commands. What is a command? I have Genesis 28:6 open, and we're going to see this from the perspective of Esau. So the first thing I did is I drew a little sketch on the board for my brother, Tony. And I drew this oxen. Quick sketch. I drew a kind of quick, picture of a shepherd in the background, the oxen with the yoke, and goads. And the way I was defining command was the restrictive aspects of this oxen. So you can see down near the oxen's feet, there's this path or lane. That's a restrictive course. And then you have these goads that push into his neck. You have this setup. It's almost like saddling the oxen. You put it on his neck. You also have that guy behind him in the background. Hey, if you don't continue, you have this restricting agent, the rod. And so a question arose in speaking to Tony. What's the connection between a command and enlightening? Or I'm sorry, a command and an instruction. What's the question? What's the connection between a command and an instruction? And I would say that a command is in a subset. It tends to be a subset of an instruction, or at the very least, part of the restricting aspects of performing instruction. Here's your lane, stay in it. I'm putting you in this lane. I'm goading you. I'm restricting you. It is you are providing the what, the when, the where. So we're going to look at Genesis 28:6. V'yara Esau, and he saw, or realized, he saw Esau. Ki verach Yitzchak, that Yitzchak, Isaac, blessed et Yaakov, that Isaac blessed Jacob. So he realized this, he saw this. And what's interesting is this whole process of a series of sequential steps is summarized by he commanded him. So what we're going to see is Isaac blessed Yaakov, okay? And he sent him. So part of it is I'm directing you, I'm moving you. This is the action. You're here, you're going to go there. And Parina Aram, which is the plateau of Aram, here's the where. This is the place you're going to go. To do what? Lakachet lo misham isha, to take for himself. Lakachet lo, to take for himself. From where? Misham, from there. And isha, to take a wife. To take to himself a wife. That's the task and the objective. Hey, you're going to go to this place. When you get there, you're going to take a wife for yourself. This is the command. And what's interesting is Be varacho oto. And he sent him there in the blessing of him, for him or to him. So it's like the blessing is not an equipment that he's wearing necessarily, but it kind of surrounds Yaakov. He sends him in the blessing, okay? And then this is summarized. This is partly summarized by the phrase "Vayetzav alav," and he commanded him, and saying, and it gives you more specifics. But here, one of the things I want to underline is he commanded him, okay, saying, "Lemor lo tichach isha mibenot Canaan." Not you're going to take a wife from the daughters of Canaan, from Canaan. You're not going to take a wife from that pool. You're not going to draw. It's essentially, I would say that part of that is the backward bound. In the drawing of the oxen up here, you can see a faint little green thing. Maybe you might even be like, what is he talking about? It looks like a wishbone. It's a kind of a sketched approximation of a shepherd holding a rod. The furthest restriction is I stay here and I'm waiting for the results of what you're doing, and if you try to come backward, I'm in Canaan and there are daughters of Canaan around me. I have this rod, that's that restriction. But I want to say this, when it speaks about his command, it says, Vaitzav alav. It doesn't say he commanded him. It actually says, and he commanded on him, or put his command on him. He commanded on him. This is the idea of placing it on Yaakov. A command is placed on someone. And what's interesting is you place the command on them, you put them in their lane, you give them the specifics, but you don't just send them in that. They need an equipping agent, and part of it is the blessing. And so just as a recap, a blessing, a refresher for some people, a blessing is an invocation in the name of a being in the realm of heaven, or a deity, okay? One who has the power to hear the invocation, which is speech or calling out. And then they send their locality or their presence. This would be called their name, which is why you bless in the name of, or bless the name. So he invokes the name of Yah, the name of El Shaddai, the name of God, and that God will, his presence, his sustaining presence, which this is why the ancients would correlate the local presence of the God, they'd synonymize it with the name of the God. So they'd say that's the name of God, when it's actually the local presence at work through metonymy. So he'd equip and send the one who's supposed to perform the command with the local presence of God through that blessing. And that blessing, insofar as they moved in it, the command, okay, would cause the result to be the person performing it, and the results bigger, better, and spread out. And so you have Yitzchak and Rivka, Isaac and Rebekah sending their son. They're commanding him, and Isaac is the one commanding him, sending him out. And he's putting a blessing on him so that he can do the command. Just you go do the command. That's so far removed from the Torah. And this is not the only example. You could go back to Avraham, who takes his servant, it's his chief servant. It's probably Eliezer. He's not named as Eliezer at this point in Genesis. I think it's 24. I'm not certain. And Abraham says, hey man, we need to set this up. I've got to command you. You're going to get a son, again, getting a wife. You're going to get a wife from my son, okay? Isaac. This is how Yitzchak got his wife. And Abraham, they have this exchange, and they have this back and forth. Well, what's required of me? Where? What if this? What if that? There's this conversation. And he also blesses him. And he says there's a blessing on him, and it's the local agent. It's the local agent of Yahweh there, who is going to show up. Look, my God's going to be with you. He'll send his angel, which is his presence, and I'm invoking the name of Yah to be with you, okay? He will help you to perform this task insofar as you move in it. And so again, he is calling down and invoking power. In the servant, let's just say, is Eliezer. Eliezer doesn't go alone. He goes with the localized power of God that's been invoked by the one commanding. The same thing goes for Jacob. He doesn't go alone. He goes with the blessing of his father, which is the localized power of the God that Isaac invoked with him. And so we can pull from this something really interesting. We could say that when you command.
Okay.
Oh wow! Look at that. That's like video inception. When you command someone, you are directing them, you're leading them, but you're kind of invoking, when you're commanding someone like the Torah, you should invoke the name of God. You should invoke the name Yeshua, and you should bless people. Said very simply, when you command someone, send them with your blessing. Send them with your blessing. I commanded a brother today, hey, I had a dream last night. The enemy's going to want to attack you based on my interpretation of this dream. Be on guard. You're doing so well, brother. You have so much freedom. Know that when you go about to do good, the evil one is with you. He's lurking with you. I find this law where when I desire to good, evil there is with me. And from Romans, and I say that to him, so I give him a command: be on guard for this particular temptation. Avoid this while you use that freedom. And I said, and I bless you in the name of Yeshua, right? Bless and do not curse. Blessing has power that we don't use. I invoke the name of Yeshua to go with you to keep that command, to help you and empower you to keep this command. So yeah, it's just kind of a background on commanding. Bless people when you command them. Invoke the name of Yeshua and bless them and send his power with them to keep it. Give them those restrictive parameters. Do this. Know this: if you push back, if you try to go backward instead of forward in this command, you're going to rub up against me, the commander, right? But also, I've got a restriction on you, which are the parameters of the command. You know, that's like the goad and the support the oxen's wearing, and also the particular lane he's walking in. I'm answering the who, what, when, where, why for you. And through conversation, Deuteronomy 6 conversation, I'm enumerating the aspects of it. You're going to perform the task. I'm going to send my blessing is going to go with you. The name of God is going to help you finish it insofar as you move in it faithfully. Okay? So that's a better picture, a more full picture for how commands work.